Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. So I've just walked from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where of course the result was Tottenham Hotspur 2, Southampton 3. I cannot believe the scoreline, but I've got three very special guests to talk through tonight's game. Let's start with Darren. Darren, how are you? And before we talk about the football, let's talk about your new film, just released on Netflix.
Yes, I'm in a film called Pirates. It's Reggie Yates' new comedy feature, all about three lads who want to go out on New Year's Eve, Millennium Night, and the fun that goes down with their House and Garage soundtrack. And I play a nice little cameo in there. So catch me if you can on Netflix.
Brilliant. We've also got the legend Lee McQueen, of course, former Apprentice winner. Lee, before we talk about the football, let's talk about your new YouTube channel.
So yeah, good evening everybody. Absolutely gutted about the football, to be fair. I've got a new show out called In the Line of Hire, where we review The Apprentice every single week, the morning after the night before. So 8:30 live on stream every Friday morning, with fantastic guests, actually, guests that have been in the final, guests that have won the show, and we talk all things Apprentice. So if that's your beef, then I'd love to welcome you over and on the channel. Follow me at Lee McQueen. That's where you can pick it up, people. So yeah, thanks for having me, Chris.
Do check that out. Well, lovely to have you here, Lee. And of course, we've got channel regular Craig. Craig, how are you this evening?
Oh, a bit pissed off, Chris. If I'm honest, never nice coming on after. Well, it's always nice coming on, but it's never nice coming on after a loss, is it? Especially the manner of the defeat tonight, which we will get into, I'm sure. And I don't think Antonio Conte has even finished with the press yet, by the looks of it. So I'm sure he's had a few stern words to say to the squad, by the looks of it.
Well, how stupid was I, or am I? Because I thought that days like this and evenings like this were over. I really did. Darren, let's start with you. Let's talk about the football. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
It's a game that was one to really study afterwards. And I think it really showed where we're at and where the progress needs to get to, where we all got excited, we've all got emotional, we've all got carried away. And I think this was a nice reality check just to highlight what still needs to be done at the summer and where we need to improve. And I think Conte knows that. I think as fans, we were hoping that these nights wouldn't be around, but it's football. These nights are going to happen. And I think I'm more concerned about what happens in the next game, because normal Spurs will allow this to become a run. We don't want this to become a run. We want to learn from the mistakes that were made today, learn from the errors that were made today, learn from the system play that Southampton bought that we didn't adapt to, and hopefully we push away from this. We're going to lose games here and there, absolutely. But in the manner in which we lost, there are highs and there are lows in today's performances. And I'm going to try and be as positive as I can, because I don't want to crucify us on one performance, because it's not that time anymore. I don't want to be in that period anymore. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I know how you feel, Darren. Lee, let's come to you. Of course, I was with you in the pub before the game. We're all smiling. We're all predicting 3-1 wins, 3-0 wins. Everyone was thinking that Tottenham had the 3 points in the bag. What went wrong for you tonight?
Maybe the players thought that as well, to a certain degree. Maybe there was a bit of tiredness, maybe from the weekend. Maybe there was a bit of complacency. I think at this level, you've always got kind of a 1% drop off is mostly catastrophic, because at an elite level, that's what can happen. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, we were woeful. I mean, I've got the blue book out from last one on Spurs tonight, and we had they had 10 shots on target. Southampton 10 away from home, 7 off target. They had like 9 corners. More possession now. I think it's 53% possession in the end. I mean, the first half they had like 63% possession. Their passing was crisper. I personally think that Ralph done a tactical masterclass against us tonight, and that's a bigger worry for me than player performance, because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, Conte's a top 5 manager. How's he getting outclassed by Hasenhüttl? And that for me was what happened. You can see where I sit in the south, we've got quite a good viewpoint on row 48, right? So you can see quite a lot of the pitch. And clear as day in the first half, their wing-backs were pushing right on. I mean, we were playing as a back 5. Emerson Royale was playing almost between the posts as a right wing back. Davinson was over on the centre on the penalty spot, enabling Romero to kind of roam almost as a left-sided centre back. It was so lopsided, and they just had time and time again they were having attack down that side, and that for me tactically, look, I'm not a tactician at all, clearly, and I'm definitely not Antonio Conte, but the way the energy, the lack of press in the first half, the tactical awareness, I think, of Southampton, and I know they scored obviously more goals in the second half than they did in the first, but they deserved it today, simple as, Chris, and we didn't. And the worry for me is that we got, like Darren said, we got to go and turn up again on Sunday and put that right, because we were a shadow of the team that I watched live on Saturday. And as you can all tell, viewers, I am also in my car, so I've just come from the stadium as well, and we were a shadow of the team that I saw on Saturday.
You're absolutely right, Lee. There is absolutely no doubt or question that Southampton deserved the 3 points tonight, because they were exceptional. Craig, let's come to you. Your thoughts on the game?
It was just bad from minute one, really, apart from a couple of spells, 5 minutes in the first half and 10-15 minutes in the second. We were second best to everything. We were very reactive, not proactive. You could see where the balls were coming in. Romero was stepping in, trying to win the ball a few times, but a lot of the times the ball was coming in midfield, and they were reacting to where the ball goes rather than trying to actually press the players. Lee was spot on there. We didn't press at all, which is what we want to see, what we was doing at the weekend. Players just didn't seem to, whether it was energy levels, I don't know. It was just a really, really bad performance, and I really don't want to be too negative, because it's definitely got better over the last few weeks. But that kind of brings us back down to earth, doesn't it? And it doesn't really help when we're now tied on games with that mob down the road, and they play tomorrow. So I know we're still not miles off it, but let's face it, that really hasn't helped our cause, has it? You know, and it really does bring home perhaps that we're not as good as perhaps we all think we are, and I include myself in that. But you know, tomorrow's another day. We go again on Sunday, but it's a must win against Wolves on Sunday now.
Darren, let's talk about the starting 11. Of course, it was the same team that Antonio Conte played against Brighton at the weekend. Hugo Lloris in goal, back three of Sanchez, Romero, Davis, wing backs Reguilon and Emerson Royale. In midfield, Højbjerg and Winks, forward three of Lucas, Son and Kane. Were you surprised by Conte naming the same 11? Did you expect Bentancur or Kulusevski to start in tonight's match?
I expected the 11 we got, if I'm honest, because that's where he's safest, and the two gentlemen, he needs to bed him in a little bit more. And I felt that he was going to try and bring them on and give them more minutes in this game. As we all predicted, we all expected to be winning this game. So we expected to bring them on at 2-1 and them to kind of have the same effect they had in the game previously, and we get to bed them in that way. And I think something that Lee quite rightly highlighted was tactically, Southampton came and they outplayed us, and tactically it was a shock. But for me, it wasn't a shock, because when you look at the areas that they exploited, the areas that we need to improve in our wing back area, and also Davinson Sanchez, he was being dragged in a way that he wasn't comfortable, and Romero was trying to boss that back line, but he wasn't comfortable in terms of where the personnel were around him. He couldn't get the system right, and we were being overloaded on both flanks. And I think that was very evident very early. And I think there was no one on the bench that Conte could go, I can bring them on to change this. But ultimately, it showed us that the personnel in those positions, one, are not fully equipped to those positions yet. And two, tactically aren't there. Romero hasn't got the tactics down as a wing back yet. And there was a number of moments in the game today where I could see that he was panicking. His touch was off. And then the other area that I could see that needed the improvement, which I think we have in Bentancur, and I really do believe this, is that calming presence in the middle of the park. Someone who wants the ball. And I think a lot of the times in the centre, the ball, when the centre halves had it, they were looking for that short pass, and Winks was trying, but he was struggling. Højbjerg was struggling. They were being pressed very early by Southampton. That press was intense. And they weren't comfortable. When you saw Bentancur come on, even though, yes, there were more goals in the second half, What Bentancur gave us was someone who's more composed. He wanted the ball. He was dictating where other players were moving. And I think that's going to come. And that's why, as much as this defeat and that starting 11 hurt, I'm more optimistic now because I can see what Bentancur can do in that middle. I can see the improvements. And I believe in Conte is going to watch this video and go, here's your mistakes, here's your mistakes, here's your mistakes. Drill them, drill them, drill them. And those mistakes hopefully will disappear. Wolves, I guarantee the Wolves game will be a completely different performance.
There's an awful lot of comments coming in all about tactics and Antonio Conte's tactics tonight. Darren, let's stay with you for a minute. Keith writes on screen, we were overrunning midfield. I'm surprised Conte didn't change the setup during the first half. What could he have changed?
I think what we were seeing was that press where Højbjerg and Winks were being exploited and there were too many numbers in there. But also, as Lee quite rightly pointed out, their wing backs were high. They were very high. So what it was doing, it was pushing Reguilon and Emerson into different positions. Emerson was really deep. So he was basically playing as a right back, sometimes as a right centre half. So what we were missing were numbers. But where the issue also was coming from is when we had the ball, to get that short pass into midfield, it wasn't clicking there. It wasn't happening. The press was too much for Højbjerg in terms of his control, his ball movement. And if you changed it early, I don't think it would have helped us because I think, as you saw how the game panned out, 1-1, we went 2-1 up. At that point, he was about to make the change and he could see at 60 minutes, I need to affect this game, but we got a goal. And I think the timing of the goal, then the injury as well, changed the momentum in the match because Southampton then chest got puffed up. They went for it. They found that second gear and we found ourselves in problems again. So I think we do have the personnel, but it's showing us that certain individuals on the press struggle and the midfield was overrun. I totally agree. And Conte, I don't think he responded badly to it. And also, I don't think that people were saying about he didn't make changes at half time. I don't agree you have to do that at half time. I think telling the players, you got 10 more minutes to show me you're better or to improve. I think that's a better way of managing. Holding someone off after 40 minutes or 35 minutes or half time, I think it does more damage unless they've been completely battered. And who do you take off, Højbjerg or Winks at that moment? I don't think either of them at half time deserved it. Give them that extra 10, 15 and then see what we can do. That would have been my way of playing it. And I back what Conte did.
Lee, let's come to you. Were you happy with the Tottenham Hotspur starting 11, particularly after that fantastic performance in the FA Cup at the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we learned tonight is that we can't play, full on 95 minutes twice back to back in 3 days. I think that's what we've learned about the team or about the squad. I didn't have any qualms. I totally trust Conte, playing a 3-4-3. I think it was obvious to me, and I am just a novice, right? But it was obvious to me within the first 8 minutes of that game, we needed to switch slightly, even for, 10, 12 minutes or so, just bring somebody else in midfield, just to pack it out. We were getting overrun, and Højbjerg and Winks were getting overrun the whole game. And even though they've done well, as Darren said, in parts, they were getting overrun. And I agree with the comment that Keith made before. So, I'm happy with the selection, and actually I'm happy with the options we got on the bench. I mean, I think Ricky Bentancur, as we're calling him affectionately, obviously because he looks exactly like Ricky Sachs. So Rodrigo comes on. I think he was outstanding, literally a step up from where we had been. But and like Darren said, just we can see 2 more goals. You look at them goals, I'm sure we'll come to it. They were literally a carbon copy. It was like JWP was given 2 dead ball situations. And we all know how lethal he is. He is the best in the Premier League, only second in Premier League history behind David Beckham for free kicks. And we basically gifted him 2 dead ball situations. And the thing is, Chris, they weren't even dead balls, but we didn't even press him. And it was almost like, have as much time as you like, fella. And he just whipped in, outrageous cross, twice, exactly the same goal. Literally exactly the same. And that is very, very frustrating.
Lee, how do you put your finger on it with Tottenham's defending today? To concede 3 goals at home under Antonio Conte at home, it's just, it's unheard of.
Yeah, that's what I go back to tactically. Again, it's so difficult because obviously I'm sitting in my car and I'm just talking about it rather than giving you a visual. But where I sit in the stadium, I've got a decent aerial view, and it was so obvious to me. I'm looking down the pitch. I'm behind the goal. I'm looking down the pitch, and Emerson Royale should be playing here, right? He should be over here, and he was here. He was literally in between the posts as a right wing back because, as Darren said, their fullbacks or their wing backs were pushing so far on, and we needed to flip that. We were 10, 15 yards way too deep from the beginning of the match. Way too deep. We needed to push up the pitch. And even Romero, and I've got the highest of praise for him because I think he's brilliant. But he was receiving the ball inside our 18-yard box and then playing short passes when actually we needed to be receiving that ball virtually on the halfway line. You know, and we were way too deep the whole first half. And that for me is why I think that we were struggling. It was like we couldn't get out. And it's weird as well because we probably did create some decent chances. It was an offside goal, wasn't it? With a header in the first half. Reguilon should have scored. It was a good save in the end as well. And obviously we did get the goal. So we did create some chances, but, you know, I think we were too passive personally and too deep.
Lee, let's stay with you for a second. Super chat on screen now from Rhythm 2671. Thanks so much for your comment. Ben Davies had better quality on the ball when we went to a back four than Reguilon was playing. Thoughts?
I'm not sure Rhythm 2671, to be honest. I mean, again, I thought that there was a lot of endeavour certainly in the second half with Reguilon. I think the quality of the quality of the crosses into the box was very frustrating. There was a time I think that, you know, there was 4 white shirts in the box and he put the ball behind every single one of them rather than in front of them. He should have scored in the first half as well, but again, you've got to credit the goalkeeper for getting across. Big Fraser Forster got across as well. So I'm not sure about that. I think that when Conte changed it up today to go to a back four, it was almost out of, dare I say this, I'm very sorry, viewers, desperation, because it wasn't working beforehand, was it? And we needed a goal. And even when we needed a goal, it didn't feel like the urgency was there. I don't know whether you think that, lads, but it just felt like it was so slow today. It was like I don't know, it was like we just, compared to Brighton, Chris, right? Compared to Brighton, it was fast, it was up-tempo, it was high press, it was, you know, it was completely different from today. And I think that's where we struggled.
Craig, let's come to you. What was so different tonight to Saturday night against Brighton? Because I completely agree with what Lee said there. You know, it's like chalk and cheese, the contrast between those two matches. Were you happy with the starting 11 as well?
Yeah, I pretty much was, to be honest, because that team done so well on Saturday. You can't really argue with the starting 11 in that regard, but it was just the urgency and the lack of energy, really, throughout the whole team from minute one. I mean, we should have been 1-0 down within the first 5 minutes. I mean, he missed an absolute sitter there. I can't remember who it was. Their number 10, I think. Can't remember his name. Forgive me, but you know, we should have been 1-0 down from the off there, and then Hugo makes a couple of good saves. All right, Reguilon misses a good chance, but as a whole unit, the team just weren't at the races today. And you do see that. You see that from a lot of teams, but perhaps we just see it and expect it from Tottenham at least once or twice a season because we're so used to seeing it. You have one really good game, and it seems like you can't maintain those energy levels for the next game. And you know, for me, Southampton, Brighton press, Southampton press, they're not too dissimilar, but we made them look like Man City, not even Man City, Barcelona, you know, Real Madrid, name any good team you want. We just made them look better than they are. I think they're a good side, but we made them look a hell of a lot better than they are. And we were chasing shadows most of that, certainly the first half. And when we came out in the second half, you could see Harry Kane pulling the defence up. You could see him waving them forward, and that's what it was. It was that gap between the defence and the attack. The attack was, you know, trying to stretch in that first half, and we got a bit of joy with that. But it's that midfield. The gaps are huge, and when Bentancur came on, I think he looked really good. And for me, I think it was a mistake taking more off and bringing Kulusevski on, because I said here on Saturday I thought he had a half decent debut. But it just slowed everything down when he came on. I just don't think it was the game for him. And the jury's out, obviously, with him. For me, still, personally, as you know, I like faster wingers, if you like, if that's what he is. He's just not fast enough for that game tonight. And, you know, he didn't really have his best game tonight, did he? But, you know, it's early days. But going back to the starting 11, we couldn't have asked for much more after that performance Saturday. I think we all expected them to just kick on, and they didn't, did they?
Darren, let's come to you. 2000 GT, right?
Sorry.
Go on, Lee. Go on.
So sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say I'm racking my brain through individual performances, and I can't remember, and I might be wrong here, I can't remember specific, you know, terrible mistakes. You know, we didn't give away free kicks in the final third today. We didn't really give it, you know, like the classic Davinson and Sanchez mistake, or, you know, a Serge Aurier, you know, giving away a free kick, you know, in them areas. I think we kind of did that today, and I think that again, where we got beaten was the lack of press or the overrun in midfield. And again, for me, that comes back down tactically. It didn't feel like we knew how to beat Southampton.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, that's what
yeah. I see what you mean, Lee, but to be honest, from obviously watching on the telly like I was, Emerson was in totally the wrong position for both the crosses. I mean, the whole defence didn't cover themselves in much glory, but for both crosses, apart from the fact we left James Ward-Prowse, like you say, one of the best crossers of the ball in the Premier League, we give him about 20 yards around him so he could pick it out. But the defending for both those crosses was appalling. And Emerson tonight, I'm sure we'll get into individual performances, but for me, he's not the answer for me. Then that game's highlighted it tonight. You know, if you ask me who I want, Serge Aurier, Doherty, or Emerson, I would have Serge Aurier, and that is a stretch for me. Believe me. So that's how bad it is. That's a key missing part, and obviously one we wanted. You know.
I don't think it's a bad point though, Craig, because I made this point on this channel a couple of weeks ago on one of these chats, that the fact that if Serge Aurier was still at Spurs, I think that he just fits in perfectly well to Antonio Conte's system. So it's just weird how, of course, he left before Conte come in. But let's go through some more questions on screen, because the viewers want to talk about tactics and Antonio Conte's formation. Darren, let's come to you. Bentancur starts with Winks and Højbjerg in a 3-4-3 with Lucas Moura on the bench. Different result for you if that was to happen? Because Bentancur, when he signed for Spurs, he described himself as a player that likes to switch play really quickly. And I tell you what, I feel quite excited about this player because he hasn't put a pass wrong. He moves the ball very quickly. He wants the ball. He's constantly demanding the ball, and he's constantly, telling his teammates what to do so early on.
Yeah, Chris, as we did transfer deadline day together, and you asked me about him, and I said this is exactly what he does. He's a general. He's a boss in that midfield. He's that bit of class that we needed. And it's funny, just the week we've had, because obviously Musa has hanged up the boots. Dembele said, I'm done. And for me, I think it's beautiful timing that we have Bentancur now, because I feel Musa probably gone, look, I know Tottenham's all right now. Bentancur's going to have this covered, because I feel he's got all of those elements. He's a player that, under pressure, will want the ball. And I totally agree with the comment before saying, if Bentancur had started, it may have been a different result. It may have been. And the reason why I say that is because he is the one player in that centre of the midfield that is composed under pressure. And what we found today was everyone was under pressure. And that goes to our back four. When we look at our back three, when you look about playing the ball out of defence, everyone looked rushed. There was no composure with their passes. It was panic passes, and passes were short, playing to people, passes where they didn't want it. Winks didn't want it there. Højbjerg didn't want it there. As Craig quite rightly said, Reguilon was picking up the ball, getting short passes at the edge of our box. He doesn't want it there. But he was coming there because there was no pass available. And all of those things were putting us under pressure. It was building the pressure on us. And I think when Bentancur is ready to start, I believe that's going to change the play, because he's a man who's going to always be looking for the ball to feet. But also, as you saw today, which I saw in the first game, his hands are always moving. He's motioning, you there, you there. And that's a footballer. That's someone who's going, I'm playing the game with a vision. I know where I want this game to go. If you can't see it, I'm going to show you. And that's a leader. And that's a beautiful quality to have. So that's why I'm excited about Wolves, because I feel he may get the start, because Højbjerg looked like his tank was empty when he came off. Winks put in a shift today. He looked knackered as well. So I think Bentancur will step in. Kulusevski, I think it's interesting, Craig, what you were saying about his pace. And I think that is going to be something that is going to be highlighted often. He is not the fastest of our front options, but creatively, what I love to see is he's looking for that pass. He's looking to play the pass in, and he's going to be a guy that he's going to need the runners beyond him. And I think he may aid Harry Kane's game, because I think today, again, highlighted something else that we're missing in our squad, is the man who stays up top. And I think today, when we were being pressed, there was no out ball. The ball that takes the pressure off where we can go long, we don't possess it. We can't do it tomorrow. We can't do it to Son unless they've got a run on their runner. We don't have an out ball because Kane is always coming short to feet. And I feel that Conte's seeing that. And I know we looked at the bench going, I ain't got that bit, have I? That's the guy I need to go long. Like you saw, as you quite rightly said, Lee, that we got desperate. The back four came in. At one point, Romero went up top because he was trying to get that ball, trying to get the drop of the ball where we could get a tap in. We did get it when it went in with Stephen, got it, but one, it didn't count. So we were trying. I could see the ideas. I could see the thought behind it. We're not going to go into our rut. That's what I'm just saying that now. This was a blip, but this is a blip that we can learn from. And Southampton, we've got to give them credit though, guys. Southampton played really well today, and their tactics were right. We did make them look great, but they came with a format and they came with a system that exposed where we need help.
Lee, let's come to you. Comment on screen now. We may have a Jekyll and Hyde team on our hands. Well, I feel like a lot of us Tottenham Hotspur fans have felt like that for years anyway. Another comment here. Who plays next to Bentancur? And this is exactly the question I was going to ask anyway. So thanks so much for this one. Who plays next to Bentancur? Højbjerg and Winks aren't good enough. Would struggle to get into the Southampton team. They couldn't press anyone. Lee, surely, thinking forward to the Wolves game, I know we're going to preview that later on in the show, but Bentancur, would you like to see him start the next one?
Yeah, definitely. But again, he's just come on and played tonight. Has he got it in his legs to go again at Premier League? Hopefully. I mean, that's why we bought him. I would start him. And to answer the question, you play him next to Skip, didn't you? I mean, personally, after Saturday, 3-4-3 all day long, love it, got no issue with it. After today, I'm going maybe you play a 3-5-2 because they needed an extra body in there. I think that's my biggest beef with tonight is that we can criticise Højbjerg, of course, we can criticise Winks, of course, and they didn't play brilliantly tonight. I mean, Højbjerg got an assist, although it went down as an own goal, so that won't class as an assist, but ultimately he got one. But he did give away the ball a lot, And I'm a big, I stick up for Højbjerg and for Winks, but they didn't have their best games. But my viewpoint on that is because they were overrun the whole game, and that's one of the key reasons, right? Do you know what I mean? Like they wasn't comfortable at all tonight, and like Dan said, you've got to give Southampton credit for that as well. I think they played brilliantly. To go away from home and have 10 shots on target. I mean, our man of the match in the end would have been probably Hugo Lloris if we'd have ended up getting a point or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I think from that perspective, I think that you'd probably start Skip when he's fit again. So that says a lot, doesn't it?
Lee, what does Antonio Conte do though from now until the end of the season? Because we all know, and it's very clear and evident that Antonio Conte trusts this starting 11. He wants players that he knows can do a job, and they were on the pitch tonight. And of course, the two subs who he's come out and said in the press conferences a couple of times about the two new signings, they are players that he can rely on and trust as well. So, arguably, it's probably Tottenham's best 11 put out tonight.
Yeah, I think that's what's disappointing, Chris, and all the viewers. I think that is, that's why we're sitting in our cars after watching that match. My hair dripping wet from the rain. And I'm losing my voice, and I'm absolutely gutted because I didn't see it coming. 100%, I did not see that coming tonight. So yeah, I'm scratching my wet head tonight because I'm thinking, why didn't we turn up? It's a hard one to take tonight. It's a hard one to take. I thought we were slow. I thought we were lethargic. I thought we got overrun. I thought tactically we weren't brilliant. I thought Emerson had a shocker, as Craig said. As well, going to all of the individual players and go into them proper. But sometimes in football, you just got to put your hands up and go, do you know what? We weren't very good tonight, and Southampton was, and it is what it is. On another day, like against Leicester, we get the 3 points. But tonight, it was Southampton's turn.
Let's talk about the game itself. Craig, let's come to you. In the 4th minute, Southampton had a chance. Hugo Lloris saved. In the 13th minute, Spurs had a free kick with Heung-min Son. Romero headed in. Of course, it was disallowed, and rightly so. In the 16th minute, so unlucky, Harry Kane to Reguilon. Goalkeeper saved. Surely, though, Craig, that is a chance that Reguilon should be, put into bed. That should have been 1-0 at that stage.
Yeah, it should have been. I mean, it was a good save, but Reguilon made it a lot easier than it should have been. To be honest with you, he should have been burying that anywhere else, and it would have been a goal, wouldn't it? To be honest with you, but them are the chances you got to take, and I wouldn't say it was a game-changing moment, to be honest with you, because Southampton deserved that tonight, and on the balance of the game, they fully deserved the win, but. Obviously, it would have changed the game and put us at the advantage earlier on, wouldn't it? But it was just a poor performance. I was reading, actually, Chris, changed the subject slightly, that Conte said in his press conference, he said, it's a pity because my players, they have 120%. The effort was maximum. I cannot say I didn't see the right commitment. I've seen the maximum commitment. I'm just not sure I agree with him on that, to be honest with you, because I don't think that if that was at Spurs at 120%, I mean, Christ, I'd hate to see us at about 80, because that just wasn't there tonight. There's a few other things.
Videos with Nuno in charge. That
yeah,
80%.
Oh, it's probably less, to be fair. You're right. Yeah.
I think the word in a bit though, Craig, is commitment, and I think what I took from that is that. The way we were outplayed in the first half could have been absolute shutdown for Spurs, like mentally shut down. And what you saw was that fight to try and get back in the game. We were always trying to get back in, and going 2-1 up, there was always a will. There was always a try. And I think that's something that I want to take from this game. As much as the defeat and the performance wasn't great, we were trying. We were all, like, even in that last minute, Bert Wine's goal and stuff, we were always trying. The boys were trying to find it. They were trying to make it click, trying to make it work. And I think that was what I think Conte probably was alluding to in that press conference, going, he saw the commitment. He saw the commitment also to his system. They kept going with what he was trying to make them do. And that is something that we have to look at as one of the very small positives we can get out of today's result. That's what I'm going to hold on to for dear life.
Yeah, it was a kind. Sorry, go on, Chris.
I was going to say, Darren, let's talk about the first goal, because, of course, it was a good move. Lucas Moura to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, crossed in, Heung-min Son. I thought it was a Sonny goal, but, of course, it's now been credited as an own goal. Good move from Tottenham.
Yeah, when it clicks like that, we've got the players to do that. When the movement is good, the runners off the ball happen swiftly, we can do that. We're going to do that to a lot of sides. And that little routine there and that little goal setup is not going to be the last time we're going to see it, because the guys understand each other's movement up there. And I think that's something that's become very clear. Moura, Son and Kane, they're dangerous. And they get each other's movements and they allow each other the space to flow, and they give each other the channels to get into. And it's beautiful to watch when it clicks. And the midfield are starting to find the rhythm of each other in terms of knowing when to go short and long and when to speed up the passes. And I think that was one moment when it all just clicked. And when it clicked, we get the goal. And that's what we have in our armory now. We do have that in a kick bag. We've gone back to that Tottenham when the football looks fast, the ideas look great, and the goals will come.
Lee, let's come to you. In the 21st minute, Hugo Lloris made a fantastic save to his right. Just 2 minutes later, though, Ben Davies slipped, made a mistake, no matter what you want to call it. And then Southampton, of course, equalised. Talk us through that goal for the equaliser for Southampton, because it just seemed to be a bit of a mess, really.
I think it was that panic again, isn't it? In defence, he slipped, or did he make that mistake? But it just felt like it was maybe Southampton made it look easy, but it felt too easy for them to score. I think it felt like in that first half that was coming, and actually for them to score when they did. Was perfect for them. Like you say, 2 minutes before that, Hugo Lloris, makes a fantastic save as well. So, like I said earlier, they had 10 shots on target tonight. 10 shots on target, Southampton. So, it is really frustrating how we can. I don't know, like the players when the goal went in, they're all looking around each other, sort of going like, well, why didn't you do that? Or why didn't you do that? It's that sort of disbelief. It's like that's what makes me come back and think to myself, they didn't know tactically how to deal with Southampton. Maybe we didn't have the finesse, or we didn't have the skill set to deal with them, but it just felt panicky, Chris. Do you get what I mean? And that was indicative of virtually the whole game.
Lee, let's stay with you. In the 30th minute, across from the left, header, good save by Hugo Lloris again. 40th minute, Southampton had another shot, just went wide. Crowd very unhappy. 42nd minute, Southampton corner, Lloris saved yet again. Minute later, Southampton shot, Lloris another good save. Then half time, 1-1. Lee, you were in the stadium, in a different stand to me, but you would have heard the boos again. Tottenham Hotspur fans, I tell you what, this season, this season, I've heard more boos this season inside our home stadium than I have done for the whole of my life supporting Spurs. The booing again.
Yeah, do you know what? I was very surprised that there was loads of boos. I mean, I it was clear as day that we were booed off at half time, but when you give that series of commentary like you just did, Chris, you can kind of understand why. If you're just coming in and watching us now and you ain't seen the game, I mean, they had relentless amounts of chances. Like Hugo Lloris was keeping us in this football match. So you can maybe understand the frustration, should we say, of the crowd. Like comment on there, like checkmate, because it's not good enough. I agree. Like tonight we were not good enough. To come here under the lights at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to have a big crowd behind you, big game, get 3 points, go, really push on for that top four, and we couldn't do it, and it's so disappointing, and we couldn't do it again. And I think the positive I took out of the first half is that we did have an offside goal, obviously ruled out. We did score, and we couldn't have played any worse. Like in the first half, we couldn't. I actually said to my mate at half time, I think that's the worst we've played under Antonio Conte in that first half. And you take into consideration the Chelsea game as well. So again, for me, I'm not purposely not throwing individuals under the bus today, because I don't think that's fair to do. I think as a team, tactically, I can't put my finger on it, Chris, because what I saw on Saturday was completely different to what I've seen today. So I can only put it down to either tactics or we were knackered. We just didn't have that extra 3 or 4% that Southampton had.
Lee, before you guys move on from half time, I'm going to say something, and it may come back to haunt me later, but I'm going to say this, right? We booed at half time, yeah? And I've listened to Conte. Say again?
Some people did.
Yeah, and I'm talking to the some people, because some of them may be watching, because they're fans like we are. Now,
we did
the booze. The booze. Now, for me, I look at what Conte's trying to build, and he spoke about the fortress he wants to build at home, and what he needs from the fans, and understanding what we want, what we're trying to get, what he's trying to get from the players. And I looked at the game. Obviously, I'm watching it from the TV. I'm not watching it as close as you guys. Of course, I'm frustrated. But my energy is going, the boys need a lift. They need something. And I'm thinking, as a player, you're trying. It's not going well. We can see it's not going well. We're 1-1. We're not out of the game. We're not battered. At half-time, we are 1-1. And you are booed. Then I also watch the second half, and you watch players like Reguilon, Son, so many moments doing that to the crowd. And it's like, look at what our players are needing from us. We're 1-1, getting outplayed by Southampton. Don't get on their backs. Lift them up. We've got to change that mentality. I know if you're a
I
Spurs
agree.
fan, we've been through dark times. This time is a bright time. It's brighter than it was before. So let's not go doom and gloom when we have an off day. Let's try and lift them. We're paid the money to be there. We're in the stadium. I want to be there. I couldn't be there because of work tonight. But lift them. If we're going to shoot them down at 1-1, I don't get it.
I've got to be honest with you, you know, and I, you know, I'll just tell it how I see it as well.
Yeah,
right?
please.
I'm in the south, and I've lost my voice. Right, you can hear me again. I've lost my voice. At times, I'm singing on my own. Honestly, like if you're in the stadium and you're watching this, and you know you can hear me. The two guys that sit in front of me in my season ticket, they're like, at least you're trying. Like, I can't, you know, you got to get around. When that noise goes up, it is absolutely hairs on the back of your neck. It is amazing. And I totally agree with you. There was times in that half and in that game tonight where you just think, let's go, come on, all go at it together. And there was spits and spurts of it tonight, but not enough. It's very difficult because you can hear the boos at half time, the frustration of the crowd. So why would they want to sing, or why would they? But like you say, you look at it in a different way. Actually, that's exactly what the players needed. They needed our energy, that 12th person to really drive them on, and we couldn't get it going tonight. The whole thing was, I wouldn't say it was flat. I would say it was something not right. I totally agree with you, Darren. I totally agree with you. I come away. I think some of my clients must think when I go to work tomorrow and I speak to my clients, I must think, who's this hooligan? Do you know what I mean? Like, I got a finger in my eyeball tonight and on my forehead today. I don't know if you see it when we equalised, because when we went 2-1 up, when we're going mad and all that sort of stuff, and fingers flying around and stuff, limbs, brilliant. You know, but singing songs and trying to get the crowd up, it's very, very difficult. I don't know the answer to that other than play the ball quicker, get yourself up 10, 15 yards up the pitch and push and press and go after them. Second half, that's exactly how we started the second half, and it was a mile better. And maybe that's how you have to. The crowd feed off the players feed off the crowd. It's chicken and egg, isn't it?
Even though we've lost tonight, I really don't want to turn this chat into a really negative one. But Lee, you're one of the most positive people I know, not just about football and Tottenham, but just in life in general. Now, you know, for all of the years that we've supported Spurs, I haven't known, though, a crowd to boo the team, you know, all these times in one season. It's just an incredible number. What do you think has changed at the stadium with all the booing this season?
I don't know. Maybe it's expectations. We've got a genuine
we've been through some bad times over the years.
Yeah, look, we got a top 5 manager in the world, a current top 5 manager in the world that I think basically got done by Ralph Hasenhüttl tonight. Maybe that was the frustration. Maybe the frustration of getting overrun. Maybe the frustration of Hugo Lloris putting a man-of-the-match performance in the first half. I think maybe the expectation of, because we've got Conte, we shouldn't be playing like that. Does that make sense? So actually, because the crowds, the fans, us fans, the crowd, we see us playing like that, we're thinking, what are we doing? Like, you know, it's just a frustration. I mean, I can understand when you're not having a shot on target when you're getting booed. No, this is I haven't put this into my stat book after tonight's game, but before Antonio Conte started managing our football club, we were having 0 shots on target, as you always point out, Chris. We're now averaging seven shots on target on average under Conte, which is absolutely incredible. The swing is unbelievable. I know we didn't have that many shots on target tonight, but you know, the average is there. So I don't really know. I mean, Darren makes a fantastic point. Now, Conte wants a fortress. We wasn't a fortress tonight. We were getting outplayed, and instead of trying to get behind the team, we were getting our frustrations out. And I get it, because I get frustrated as well. Of course, we all do. Oh, why did you put that pass there? Why did you do that? It's very, very difficult. But yeah, as Paul says on screen there, maybe it is. We're just sick and tired of being a bit sick and tired. Like, without being negative, it's like we should be winning that game today at home against Southampton, who are forgive me, Saints fans, and you played brilliantly. But what, you in the bottom 5, bottom 6? We need to be winning football matches like that at home.
Craig, let's come to you. What do you think Antonio Conte said in the dressing room at half-time?
I can tell you exactly what he said. I've actually shut the iPad now, but he said, "Okay, we made mistakes, but basically we go again," and that's it in a nutshell. To be fair to him, I'm sure it was a bit more colourful than that, but you could see he'd obviously G'd them up a little bit, and they were pressing higher. And how many times have we come on here and said the same thing over and over and over again? High press, high tempo, high press, like Southampton did to us. And they've done a number on us tonight. Lee's spot on what he said. Hassan Hootel done a number on Conte tonight. And if we'd tried to press, you could say we could have cancelled each other out. But get up the pitch a bit. Get up the pitch 10, 15 yards, straight from the off. You know, we've got fast defenders back there. We had Sanchez. You know, he would have caught up with any of their strikers if they'd got him behind. So play, you know, take some more risks. Take some more risks. There was a couple of times where Reguilon made a run down the left, actually made it to their box, and then 5 seconds later, the ball's back with Hugo Lloris. You know, that shouldn't be happening. We're on an attack. The crowd gets up, and then all of a sudden, Lloris has got the ball at his feet. How the hell does that happen? You know, you need bodies in the box. He did up on one occasion. He looked up. I don't even think Kane was in the box. But hold the ball, play it back. There's got to be somebody backing him up, and then get the bodies in the box. Southampton were doing it. I think for the second goal, the second or third goal of theirs, they had 3 people in the box in and around that. You know, they were getting bodies in and around that area, and we weren't doing that tonight. So perhaps the energy levels were off, and there was in the red zone or whatever it is they call it. But, you know, whatever Conte said to them at half-time only lasted for 20 minutes, and then we reverted to type. And it seemed like when we did take the lead, we were kind of sitting like we do. We sat back on it again. We didn't go for the third. And that's the most infuriating thing, because they were on the ropes.
Craig, do you think that is still reminiscent of the Nuno and the Jose era? You know, and I know that sounds, I'm not trying to make excuses for players or Conte or whatever, but I don't know. Do you think that, why did we go and sit back? Like, as soon as they scored, we went and sat, and we did it twice to go and do that. Do you think it's because how we were drummed into us under Jose and obviously under Nuno, or do you just think that, you know, I don't know. What do you think?
But Jose always said that he never ever told the team to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe it.
Didn't they? Yeah. They all did.
Yeah, but what makes you a good manager, I suppose, is, I mean, you see Conte shouting all the time, you know, but is he saying, get up the pitch, you know, don't drop so deep? But that's where your captains on the pitch come into it, isn't it? Whether it's Lloris shouting at him and screaming at him to get out, Romero in the back line, or I mean, how much did we miss it? Dyer, you know, get up. And then in the midfield, get up. You know, Harry Kane, a leader, get up. You know, how many times just do it as a unit. You know, if that's the game plan, they all know the game plan, and they're not doing their jobs. You know, and we saw it tonight. You get pushed back, you get pushed back, you get pushed back. That's where their 2 goals came from in that second half. And yeah, exactly right. That comment on screen is absolutely spot on. They could have scored 6 if I can read that right on my phone. Yeah. I would say more. I would say more. Honestly, it was. I know we're trying to keep this fairly positive, but that was piss poor tonight. That was a shadow of that team on Saturday. And if I'll tell you what, if the midfield plays like that against Wolves, then Neves is going to run the show on Sunday. Sorry, that's my worry.
Darren, let's come to you. Let's talk about the second half. In the 53rd minute, Lucas Moura went wide from a cross. A minute later, Harry Kane went close as well over the bar. 60th minute, Benton Kerr made his Premier League debut for us. Højbjerg going off. 70th minute, Heung-min Son with a wonderful finish, putting us 2-1 up. But let's rewind just 30 seconds or so. Emerson Royale, it seems to be that he fouled one of the players in our half. The play went on. Heung-min Son put the ball in the net. You could see all of the all of the opposition bench, they were going absolutely mad even before the ball was anywhere near the goal. What did you make of that situation, and was it right that we went on and didn't put the ball out?
It's such a tricky one, because watching it from the TV, the play moved on really quickly, and you couldn't really assess what the injury was. And I think what I picked up, the bench were upset because they saw it as a head injury. Now, if you watch the footage, when he goes off, he doesn't have a head injury. It's not a head injury at all. So if you go on the letter of the law, the ref has done it absolutely perfectly. If I'm honest, I don't even think it was a foul. He falls on top of him. That's where the injury happens. It's not in the air, it's on the landing. They land on top of each other. Emerson takes him out on landing. That's the issue. Now, I don't think Southampton didn't stop playing. That's one thing to be very clear for them. It wasn't like their game stopped. They continued playing. The goal went in, then they wanted to complain. So I think the goal was justified. I think it was absolutely fair. And I think going back on some of the points that have come out, I think we did come out in the second half. I think Conte did put a little bit of a fire up them to go, we know what we can do, get the press on. And I think in terms of reverting to type, when we go 2-1 up, 3-1 up, I think what happened today was a combination of tired legs and people not wanting to be exploited. It was a slippery surface and they wanted to cut down the space behind them. Sanchez is on ice skates when it's a dry pitch. So he probably didn't want to chase a runner on a wet pitch any day. So I understood why everyone stepped back, but that's problematic. And I think that's why when you're saying, Chris, about our best 11, I think our best 11 isn't the one we've got. It's the best 11 that is available, because with Dyer in there, that's a different back three. With Skip and I think Bentancur, it's a very different midfield. Because I think the way in which we combat the high press is that quick movement of ball in the middle of the park. And what I'm trying to work out is how we get Kane to just go a little bit further forward for me. And I think Bentancur is going to be the reason that will happen. Because there are times when we don't want Kane as deep as he is. Because what happens is the runners are there, but there's no one in the middle. If you go back to the Brighton game, which I watched again, just for reference, there were so many times when Emerson was our furthest player up the pitch. And I'm going, who's he going to cross to? And that's something that I feel is the next evolution of Conte's game. Going, Kane, I love what you're doing. Let Bentancur do that now. Let Bentancur be the linchpin in that midfield. Play a little bit further forward. He will give you that pass. He will get you there. Regular. Go forward. He will see your early run. Kane, you're going to start scoring headers again, my friend. Get practicing headers. You're going to start doing that again. That's coming back into your game. And I feel I'm going to try and stay positive as I can today, because I feel there's moments in the game that Conte's going to go to the training ground and he's going to rip up the sheet and go, this is what we need to do again. Sanchez, I don't want you to do that job. Emerson, positional all over the shop today, my friend. You were brilliant against Brighton because you played up the pitch. When you get sucked in, your positional sense was out of sync. You and Sanchez weren't talking to each other, so it became problematic. And I think with a Dyer there, who is a leader, he tells you, and I think that is something that we're now building. I think I keep talking about Bentancur. I know people are going to come for me, but Bentancur is a leader. That's what he does. He leads the middle of the park. We don't have that voice. He may not speak the language, but he speaks the language of football. And when you're doing that, everyone knows what that means. Go there, go there. I can't tell you in English, but look there. That's where I want it. And trust me, we're going to change. It's going to grow. I'm excited. I'm not upset. I'm excited.
Chris, can I just say about just jumping in about the kicking the ball out issue? That's one of my bugbears. It drives me mental. Let the referee the game. You're taught from a young age, play to the whistle. I don't care if he's laying there and his head's fallen off. If the referee don't stop the game, carry on and play on. And, you know, if people are saying, why do you kick the ball out? I don't need to kick the ball out. The referee referees the game and I play to the whistle.
The ref actually got quite a bit of abuse from the Tottenham Hotspur fans today, Craig. What do you make of his performance?
I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest with you. I think you generally dig out the referee when your team's lost, because you feel like the referee's had a shocker. I didn't think he was that bad. I've seen referees have worse games, to be fair. I think he got all the big decisions pretty much right. So, I mean, you could argue on another day that leading up to the goal, Emerson's header was a foul. I don't think it was personally, but I've seen them given, if that makes sense. I don't think he had that bad a game. I've seen worse displays usually from Mike Dean, but there you go.
Darren, let's come back to you. You spoke about Emerson Royale and Sergio Reguilon. Do you think that Antonio Conte has improved both of these players? Because even a comment on screen now, Reguilon had a sitter at 15 minutes, 1-0 takes the wind out of Saints' sails. You would have expected Sergio Reguilon to certainly finish, but I really want to talk about Emerson Royale. Do you think that he will mould him into a fantastic player that is going to take us forward as a club?
I think there's great potential in both of them. And I think I'm going to talk about both because of that comment on screen. Reguilon had a sitter. Now, Reguilon, out of the two of them, is the better defender for me. And now what he's learning is that finisher. He needs to become the finisher because he's going to get far more opportunities to score goals now. In this system, he's going to get more shots on target. He's going to get in those positions to score. And I think that's the evolution of Reguilon's game. Because defensively, he's busy, he's energy, he tracks back well. He's always up and down, up and down, up and down. But when he's up, he's got to start turning them into goals. And I think that's what Conte is trying to build in him. But what he's already becoming is a constant threat for a right back or a right-sided player. You're always looking to see where Reguilon is, and that's what you need to do on that side. With Emerson Royale, we have a different issue. He was bought to play right back. He's a right back. Now he's trying to learn about playing right wing back. Learn the language. He's young. He's a baby right now in football in terms. But I see the potential. He's an athlete. He's got the potential to go up and down. What I'm finding with Emerson, which is something that we need to bed in with him, is when we're pressed, he panics. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of it. It's the panic. When he's got space, it's slow down the speed of thought. And I think that what Conte is building in him, and I think the Brighton game was one of his better games. Even though some people talk about the goal, the cross, I don't care how that goal goes in, that gave him confidence. That will boost him. And today he found a different enemy, a different beast. They played behind him. He had to keep turning on himself. He then got sucked into, am I right back? Am I right wing back? But Conte has improved his game. He is a player that I feel will be a great number 2. And I feel that when we get a player in front of him, he'll be able to learn visually because he can see it and go, that's what you want me to do. That's what I need to do. And he will grow because he's a boy and he's got it. He really does. People may go, Darren, you're living in a dream world. He's never going to materialize to be the right wing back that we want. I believe he will have it in him, but Conte has improved him, but he's not the level that we need right now. He definitely isn't, but I've got faith in him. I wouldn't sell him out and ship him out, but there's certain ones that we know need to go, but I'd keep hold of both of Reguilon and Emerson Royale because they are growing. They're growing into it.
Lee, let's come to you. Do you agree with Darren there? And who do you think has been the real winners so far under Antonio Conte? Who has he really improved for you?
Well, Ben Davis is a completely different player, in my opinion, under Conte. I think Eric Dyer, obviously, we've missed him. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. He's been a different player. I think that he's improved Harry Winks. I know Harry Winks getting a bit of stick tonight, or he didn't play well today, but he has improved him compared to what he was. I actually like Reguilon. I think Reguilon will be good. I think there's a final ball there in terms of putting it in the back of the net. But he actually got quite a few assists when Bale was with us. I also think that he's got a couple assists already this season as well. Let's not forget he scored against Leeds. He could have scored today. People will dig him out for not scoring today, but he was in that position to score, which I think is massively important. When you play with a left wing back, right? When you play wing backs, right? And this is the disappointing thing tonight versus Brighton. We had, at times against Brighton, we had 4 or 5 white shirts in the opposition box. At times today, we didn't have anyone. Kane dropping back, and that's tactically something slightly different. That's credit to Southampton. But Reguilon, there was a time tonight in the second half, he sprinted 50 yards up the pitch, long ball over to him, 50 yards up the pitch. And then no one followed it up, and it basically went backwards. And you think, what on earth? He's gone all the way up there, and then it's just gone all the way backwards again. That's the frustrating thing. So, I think he's improving Reguilon. Emerson's a funny one. You know, anyone that follows me on Twitter knows that I had a tweet that banged on Emerson, and I kind of backed him by saying that he's only 22, you know, right wing back, never played it before, etc., etc. And then got a bit of stick, and then Conte said basically the exact same thing. I tweeted that on the 3rd of January, by the way, and then Conte said basically exactly the same thing the other day. Excuse me. But he was shocking tonight. I can't stick up for the fella tonight. He wasn't good. And again, I think that he didn't position it down. I think spot on. He didn't know where to position himself. Against Brighton, he was up the pitch and he was attacking, and people didn't know how to almost mark him. Whereas tonight, he wasn't up the pitch and he didn't know who to mark. And, you know, defensively today, he was a defender, not a right wing back. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's my take on it.
Let's talk about the 2 goals at the end, 79th minute and 82nd minute. Of course, 2-headed goals. Craig, what did you make of Tottenham's defending for those goals? It was like carbon copy.
Yeah, shocking. It's like, you know, you don't learn from that first one. I could see, obviously, watching on the telly, as I said earlier, James Ward-Prowse, you cannot give that man that much space to almost pick where he wants to put the ball, because he can put it on a sixpence. And, you know, those attackers will be seeing that every day in training. They know when he's going to put it in. They know where he's going to put it. And it was just shocking.
Isn't he the player that we need in our midfield, Craig?
Yeah, it is. And just going, not just that, but going back to the Emerson Royale thing, we said all transfer window we wanted a right wing back, and we was in for Troy Orway and balls that up. And yeah, you could say he's not a wing back, but he would have provided more of a threat going forward than Emerson. I'm not a massive fan of Emerson, I've got to be honest. I can't sit here and say whether he's going to come good. I don't think he's the worst player I've ever seen, but I don't think he's the answer. And that is a real problem position for me. It's the crossing ability is just not good enough. You know, everything about that position is just a dodgy side for me. I'm sure if you look at the stats, that's the side that they were trying to come down the most tonight, and they would have targeted him, you know. But James Ward-Prowse, God, I mean, there's talk of getting Bale and Eriksson back in the summer, isn't there? Christ Almighty, that'd sell a few shirts, wouldn't it? That's probably what Daniel Levy's thinking about. But get James Ward-Prowse over the line. And there was a comment earlier that Spence from Forest, is it? I know we couldn't have signed him because he's had 2 loans. What a player he is! What a player! I would have him in a heartbeat. And Tariq Lamptey, imagine having them 2. Now they're 2 proper wing backs, you know. That's the sort of young players we need to be going in for. And you can't sit here and tell me that Emerson Royale will get in the team over either of them. And I'm even saying Spence on that, and he's only a young lad, and he's just a boy really. But the game I watched him play, he was fantastic. And it's that sort of players. If we got a couple of, just replace that right hand side and bring in, I think James Ward-Prowse is gettable, to be honest. I think he would leave Southampton. That's when you know we're making real statements in the transfer market.
Darren, would you like to see James Ward-Prowse in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt?
I'll take him. I definitely would. I'll put him right next to Ben Tucker, and I'll be a very happy man. That would definitely work for me. 2 players who move the ball quickly and allow players to run off them. And yeah, it would definitely work. It definitely work. Whether or not we're going to spend that kind of money, because Southampton are going to put a hefty price tag on him. I think he'd like to come to Spurs, but I think it's going to be pricey. And it depends how we want to move in the summer. And I think that transfer window is massive because, as Craig's highly pointed out, as Lee said, as you've said, Chris, a number of times, we as fans know the problem areas. Conte's not an idiot. He's a very smart man. He knows the areas too. It's whether or not we're willing to spend the money to get those personnel in early so that we can gel as a team. Because if we do that, listen, we can do damage in this league. We could absolutely be a menace to a lot of sides with the right personnel to make the system work.
Darren, I know you want to be really positive tonight, but 11 minutes from time, Tottenham Hotspur winning the game 2-1. You know, how do you describe Tottenham's defending for both of those goals? Because, as Craig said, you know, not learning your lesson, you know, 79 minutes it's 2-2, and then in the 82nd minute, you know, it's 3-2.
It highlighted all the elements that we have issues with. It was not pressing the ball, giving James Ward-Prowse that kind of time to cross, but also in our back 3, or it became back 4 at times with Emerson being there, attacking the ball. and getting your positions right and being in the right place to win it. And I think one of the goals, I can't remember which one it was now. If you watch the footage afterwards, Sanchez and Emerson are having a debate about it. They're like, why were you hit? And they're trying to break it down to each other. And it's that is the frustration, because they're not confident there. And I think that's what highlighted at 2-1. We could all feel that the game was nowhere near over. We knew they were going to have chances because of the way the game had panned out. And at the back, I think with Dyer back in there, with Romero there and Davies, right now, of who we've got available, those three, I want to see you attacking those balls, but also our midfield pressing people like Ward-Prowse. You can't give a Ward-Prowse space, and you've got to attack that ball in the box. And also for me, I'm a big fan of Hugo, but there were times today where he put us under pressure. And for me, it's catching goalkeepers. He loves a punch. And sometimes the punch don't go nowhere, and panic station. I think it's those moments today where everyone was just panicking at the back. No one had that cool head to just deal with it. And that's why those 2 goals were carbon copies. We know Southampton had worked that formation all week. They know where James is going to put it. They knew where the runs to go. And yeah, they exploited what they did, and credit to them. But frustrating as a Spurs fan as always.
Lee, do you want to take this question? Can you name any player who didn't play below par?
Hugo Lloris. He was man of the match. If you're talking about par, was he a 9 out of 10? No, but he was definitely the man of the match, because they had 10 shots on target and we only conceded 3, which is ridiculous. Yeah, so I would say that. But yeah, I think Faz, it's a great point, mate. I think we were average across the park tonight. Actually, just going off the back of what Darren said there as well, Chris, if I may.
Yeah.
The way the 2 goals they were a carbon copy, right? But the way the 2 goals they worked really well. Any rugby fans in the house that remember 2003, Johnny Wilkinson with that golden goal kick to win the Rugby World Cup. What that England team used to do is they used to try and tee up Johnny Wilkinson, through a series of tactical plays, or the playbook, if you like, if you're an NFL fan, to make sure that he would get into a position to be able to drop goal. And that was a weapon that they had in that team. And I believe that Southampton and Ralph Hasenhüttl tactically today did that with James Ward-Prowse, because they know he is a weapon. That right foot to cross them balls in is a weapon. And that's what I said earlier about from a mistake perspective, and I got that wrong, so there was definitely a few mistakes today. But, in terms of giving fouls in and around our box, we didn't do that today. So that was good, because James Ward-Prowse is like a penalty taker, right, from a free kick. But what we didn't do brilliantly is press him twice for the carbon copy crosses that he put in. But what they did do, Southampton, they worked the ball from right to left, back to right again, really, really well, right? So sometimes you've got to look at that. But again, coming back to the points that we've made tonight, is that all night we were too deep, and we should have been out pressing them, pushing on 10, 15 yards further this way in the second half, or obviously that way in the first half. And I just think that cheers, buddy. And I just think that we got to learn from that really, really quickly. I mean, the thing is with James Ward-Prowse, he pinged it in quite quickly, didn't it? Came to him, bang. He was in a good position, pinged it straight in. No touch, it was very, very quick. That's what I would say that we needed to do on the other side. When Spurs moved the ball quickly tonight, in parts tonight, we can be very devastating. The Kane perfect ball to Lucas, perfect ball across, bang, Son in the back of the net, quick, incisive, one-touch passing. But we didn't do that enough tonight. Probably 20% of our game tonight was one-touch passing. The rest was lethargic, walking around, 1, 2, 3 touches, and letting Southampton press us. And that's where I think we got beaten.
Lee, in Antonio Conte's first 10 games in charge, he was unbeaten, 6 wins and 4 draws. And now, of course, he's lost the last 2 Premier League games. When we lose games like this tonight and performances like tonight, how confident are you for that top 4 spot? Because we all go on about finishing in the top 4. We all look at the teams like West Ham and in particular Manchester United, who don't, let's be honest about it, they don't look that great to be finishing in the top 4. How confident are you finishing in the top 4 this season under Conte?
Well, it's a massive blow. There is absolutely no doubt tonight is a massive blow. I didn't see it coming. I absolutely thought this was a 3-point banker, and it was in the back of the net before we'd even started. Maybe that's part of the problem, like I said earlier. With expectations. So it is a big blow. But when you look at, we've still got lots of games in hand. Although we haven't got as many now, and Arsenal, as Craig said earlier, got the same games as us. I know they play tomorrow. There's a lot of football to be played. A lot of games that are evolving. That top 7, top 8 that are playing each other. You've got Europe to put back in there as well. You've got UEFA. Excuse me, UEFA Cup or Europa League as it's now called. So I don't know where I'm going with that. Champions League as well to come into the fray. Manchester United have got to play Champions League and whatever. So there is a lot of football to be played, and for Tottenham, we just got to concentrate on League and FA Cup. That's it. So, but it is a big blow tonight. There's no doubt. What it means for me, though, on the positive side, like being positive like Darren, is we now need to go to City and get 3 points. So, in my head, we've lost against City at the Etihad, but we've beaten Southampton at home. We now need to go to City and get 3 points. At the end of these run of games, Wolves, City, Burnley, Leeds, and Southampton, there's 15 points available in that lot, and we'd have been very, very happy. I'd say, sorry, can't speak for everyone else. I would be very happy with 12 points out of that lot, definitely. We've now got to do it the hard way, haven't we? But we've done it before. We had Chelsea and beat them, Arsenal after that beat them, and then we beat City to get in the top 4 under Harry Redknapp. So we can go, and under Antonio Conte, as you just said, we can go on a 9-10 game unbeaten run. There's no doubt about it. But tonight is a blow, and maybe it is a wake-up call.
Craig, same question to you. How confident do you feel that Spurs could finish in the top 4 at the end of the season? Because currently we're sitting in 7th. We're in the Europa Conference League place yet again at the minute. Hopefully we will finish in the top 4, but we are 4 points away from the top 4 at the moment. West Ham, of course, are 4th. We have 3 games in hand. But how confident after games like this are you for that top 4 spot?
Less confident than I was before the game, because I agree with Lee. I thought this was an absolute banker tonight. I would never have bet against this if I was a neutral tonight. I thought that was 3 points in the bag. But we have got enough games to put it right. And nobody is running away with that 4th spot. Our Man Europe, it's like an elephant in a tree, and you look there, you think, how the hell's that got there? I have no idea how they're where they are. West Ham have been good all season, but I would hope that they would slip away. Arsenal, again, I don't think they've been absolutely ripping it up this season. So it's there if we want it bad enough, and Conte's going to push them, you'd hope, all the way. It's still there, but we've just made it a hell of a lot tougher. But Lee made a good point when he said, all we've got to do now, is go to Man City and get a win, and all will be right in the world. But, wouldn't that just be typical Tottenham to do that, lose at home to Southampton and win at the Etihad? It's so Tottenham.
Craig, 2000 GT says, how many wake-up calls does Spurs need before we pick up the phone?
Yeah, it's probably about 20 alarms going off on it. Yeah, that's it. It's I don't know. This bloody club is going to kill me one of these days. I swear to God. It's mind-boggling, and it just when you get a little bit of belief, you get shot up the arse, and it's just Tottenham all over in it. But would we have it any other way? Yes, I would have it another way. Actually, I'd have it so you can almost rely on a win like Manchester City. But obviously, that's what Conte wants for us, doesn't it? And it's like Darren said earlier, it's a massive transfer window, and is getting that top 4 going to depend on the players that we buy? Conte's still a pull, don't forget that, but it might impact us in the summer, yeah, for sure. So it is important, very important. Of course, it is.
If you take an average, just
go on, Lee.
Sorry, buddy. I was going to say, if you take an average over the last 2 games, we can't come out after Brighton and say we were absolutely outstanding, we're going to win the league, we're amazing, and then after tonight come out and go, we're going to get relegated, we're shit. You know what I mean? It's always something in between is where I'm going with that. If you take an average over, Conte's reign so far, it's chalk and cheek compared to Nuno, for example. So I think that we've got a massive chance to go and do something pretty special even after today. But it is disappointing today. At the end of the day, it's disappointing. But look, I'm still confident. I think we can go on a run. I think we can go and win 2, 3, 4 games on the trot. I think we can go unbeaten for the next 8, 9 games. For example, we've got it in our locker. It's going to be very tough, but we can do it for sure.
Darren, did you write this question on screen?
It just the energy needed. They knew where I was going. They could feel me. They know what I'm saying. That button does not need to be pressed. Do not press that button. We don't need to press it. Not at all. And I think to answer your question about top 4, Chris, I do think it's definitely there to be taken. And tonight, as much as people see the negatives in tonight, I see a lot of positives. To go to that question about how many wake-up calls do Tottenham need? How many times do we need to be shown that the problem so we can move forward? Now, for me, I'm looking at it. I'm trying to forget the Nuno period and just going to look at Conte's. In this period, how many wake-up calls has Conte had? Let's think about, we were undefeated for 9 games. Everything was hunky-dory. And as we've quite rightly said, this performance today, we didn't fall apart. There wasn't mistakes left, right, and centre that we do. We got outplayed. We got a team that beat us tactically, and they came with a game plan and they worked it, and we had tired legs. And that's absolutely right. We were absolutely tired legs, and they exploited that and they ran with it. So there's learning curves in that. I prefer those than just random errors, because random errors you can't account for. You can't train away a random error. You can train away the mistakes that happened today. You can look at the press in the midfield. You look at the positioning where Ward-Prowse got the ball. Who was close? Why were we not pressing there? As Lee quite rightly said, as I spotted, left to right movement was happening a lot. Why were we not aware of that? What do we do with that? How do we put ourselves in better positions to compensate for those games when teams do that? Because Man City can do that. They're going to come with that plan. West Ham are going to come with that plan. We know now teams are going to be building that to try and get us. But we know that we can combat that. Conte, we trust. We believe in him tactically. I believe in what he can do. So in terms of taking top 4, it's there to get. We can grab it. Keep holding on. We can make it happen. We definitely can have it.
Lee, let's come to you. This is the question that I want the answer to most. What century are the trophies coming?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, honestly, if Antonio Conte can't deliver anything at Tottenham, then I'm not sure anyone can. I don't know how old I'm going to be before the trophies are coming, Chris. I can't believe I'm on your channel. I'm talking about trophies. I mean, the trophies tonight wasn't about winning a trophy, was it? Let's be honest about it. Right? All jokes aside, can't win a trophy against Southampton. You can win 3 points. And actually, I was walking out when it went 2-2. I said to my mate, I said, this ain't good enough for me. A draw. And then obviously we go 3-2, and you think, well, I know I might take a draw now. But the reality is that there's still a long way to go. There's a lot of football to be played. So look, you just got to look at it, take it on the chin, and we go again. Like, we've got to pick ourselves up and we go again, and make sure that we hit the press and we get on the front foot from the off on Sunday, because it's a massive game now on Sunday. That is our last home game for at least 3 more Premier League games. So we're going to have to go on that road, making sure that we've got them 3 points on Sunday.
Lee, talking about the top 4 and the possibility of Spurs getting Champions League football for next season, what teams around us are you most worried about? Because no team at the moment seem to be running away with it, do they?
No, I agree. I totally agree with that, Chris. Completely agree with it. I also said that earlier in the statement. Was like, no one fancies it, do they? No one really wants it. The team I'm most worried about Tottenham not getting top 4 is Tottenham. That is a classic.
That team there.
That's the team. Tell you what, the team that could really thwart us here is Tottenham. I mean, there you go. That said it all, innit?
That says it all. It really does. Right, Craig, let's come to you. Of course, Tottenham's next game, Wolves at home on Sunday. How do you think that one's going to go? And what team do you think that Antonio Conte will put out?
Oh, Jesus. I'll tell you what, who we could do with being back is Dyer and Skip, especially Skip in the middle. I think we've really missed Skip.
Can I just say, so someone made a comment earlier that I didn't put on screen, and I wish I had have done. Someone said that when Eric Dyer plays, all he does is get slated by the fans. When he doesn't play, everyone says, "Oh, we need Eric Dyer." Where do you stand on that?
I wouldn't say, certainly over the short term, I don't think people have been slagging Eric Dyer off as much as they have in the past, to be honest. Because I think everybody can see that we are a poorer team without him. And I think just as him and Romero were drumming up a bit of a partnership there, and even Sling Davis in there, then things transpire. Dyer gets injured, Romero gets injured. They haven't really had time to even gel as a back three, but they did look good. And for me, I know Dyer's had a lot of stick over the last year or so, and I was probably one of them. But he's massively improved. You could see what Eric Dyer brings to that team. I think he's an integral part of the team now. Dyer, he's a linchpin, and look at the managers that keep picking him, and they are much more qualified to choose Eric Dyer over the likes of anybody on any of these chats or any of the fans, you'd like to think. So they obviously see something in Eric Dyer that perhaps we all don't, to a point. But is he the best of a bad bunch? I wouldn't even say that now, because Romero's I would put him up there as one of the best defenders. So I think Eric Dyer gets a lot of unfair stick. I wouldn't be one of those ones to say that I've slagged him off in the past, but I think he's had a pretty solid season so far, Eric Dyer, and I think he deserves to be. He's certainly be in my top three defenders to have in those three centre back positions, Chris.
So you think we'll turn it around, Craig, and get the win Sunday against Wolves?
I can't be negative about it. I think we've got to. I don't think there's any other words you can use. I think we've got to turn it around against Wolves and just put tonight down as a bad job and go again. Like Lee said, you can't do anything else. And the players will know that. The players will want to sign off for the next few weeks with a win. Of course they will. And if we can't beat Wolves at home, then we really are, respect to Wolves and all that. But these are the games we've got to win. We've got who have we got? Leeds and Burnley the next two games. I don't know what the run looks like after that, but we've got to play teams in and around us, haven't we? And those are the games we've got to be winning. We've got to be winning, and hope for a few results go our way as well now, because that result tonight hasn't helped matters at all. But there's going to be twists and turns. There's still going to be twists and turns. West Ham will lose a few games. United will. So will the Arsenal. So it's not done and dusted by a long stretch. And we've got it in our hands almost, but that's kind of a bit of a bump in the road tonight.
Darren, let's come to you. As I mentioned earlier, Spurs are 7th in the Premier League. Wolves are right behind us in 8th spot. They are only 2 points away from us. They've played 21. They've won 10, drawn 4, lost 7, got goal difference of +3, have 34 points. How do you see Sunday's game going, and what team do you think Antonio Conte will put in? Do you think Eric Dyer will be back, and do you think any one of the 2 new signings will start the game on Sunday?
I think if Dyer and Skip are fit, I think both of them will step in. I think he will want to refresh the legs also back there. He'll want to put a little bit of energy in there. I think Bentancur will start. I think it's a great game to give him his time and let him play. And Neves is going to be a problem. And I think having a busy midfield around him will nullify him and give him an issue rather than us playing it the other way around. And I do believe that I think top 4 still there with the teams around us. I think Wolves being close to us. The league is so open right now. It's so unpredictable, and we don't know where games are going to go. Let's be honest. We're not winning every game now to the end of the season. We know this. We are going to have our own bumps in the road. And I think it's what we do after that game. It's the recovery from the defeat. I think we've been too busy burying our head in the sand after defeat and repeating the mistakes we've done of old. Conte is not going to allow that. And I think the players' mentality and the players we have now in that squad, they shouldn't be allowing that. And on the Dyer comment, I agree. I'm not the biggest Dyer fan, if I'm absolutely honest with you. There are mistakes in Dyer, and they worry me. Is he the best of what we've got right now? And is Conte got the right tools? When he plays him, Conte will get the best out of him. And until the summer comes, I'd rather him play than Sanchez right now. I want to see him, Romero and Davies. That's the back three I would like to see, because I feel that they're the strongest. You've got leaders in there. You've got players that are willing to put themselves on the line, and the mistake quota goes down just a little bit. There's still a mistake in there, but just a little bit less. So that's what I'd go for. I believe we're going to beat Wolves. I'm going to throw a score out there because I want to. I reckon we're going to beat them 2-0. I'm going to go for a 2-0.
Lee, are you feeling equally as confident for a win on Sunday?
Boys, as this chat's gone on, and viewers, obviously, as this chat's gone on, I've got a little bit more kind of confident. You know, it's my disappointment is waning a little bit.
It's me.
Yeah, it's definitely helps, Dan, for sure. I don't know, for me, I just think that, you know, my glass is always half full. So even when it gets a little bit below that, it doesn't take time to top back up. I think that, as Craig said, and Darren's just echoed as well, we have to win. We have to win on Sunday. You know, for us now, the mentality needs to go out there to say we have to be on it because we have to win. I think our mentality tonight was a little bit like we're going to win rather than we got to be on it. And I think that Chris makes a point on screen here that, you know, when you read some of Chris's comments, you know, he's definitely glass half empty, to be brutally honest, Chris Mayhew. So sorry about that, bud. But look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we have to go out and win. I think he'll play a 3-5-2, like he did against Liverpool when we played some really good stuff. And I think that will give Bentancur an opportunity to have a cut around him in a free, to free him up a little bit, as Craig said, to maybe go forward a bit more. If Skip's back, I think he walks back into the side. I think after tonight's performance, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Winksy need a rest. A rest, not physically because they're tired, but maybe a rest just from the team to kind of reset where they need to be.
Also, Lee, just wanted to ask your opinion and your thoughts on the FA Cup draw, Middlesbrough away in the 5th round. Could this be Tottenham's year?
Talking about trophies again, Christopher, aren't you? Hey,
I didn't mention it. I didn't mention
I think it's tough. I think it's tough. I think that is a tough draw, to be honest. Tottenham going up to Middlesbrough. It'll be another midweek game. I think that's 4 away games in and around each other. City, Burnley, Leeds and Borough, all away, all up north. I think that's tough. And Chris Wilder showed what he's doing at Middlesbrough, obviously against Manchester United. I know it went through to penalties and whatever, but he'll have them at it and well organised. I think, look, obviously I'm confident that we're going to do it because, you know, it's FA Cup, anything can happen, but, you know, they're a championship side at the end of the day. So we are favourites for that game, and I think we'll go up and do that. But like I said about the top 4, there's so much football going on. You don't know what you're going to be doing when that game comes around. Do you know what I mean? It's off the back of Leeds away, right? My understanding, unless they change the fixtures. So we don't know who's going to be fit, if anyone's been carrying a knock. We don't know, you know, if they're in the playoff position by that point. And you know, ultimately from that perspective, does he play a weakened side himself? Because Middlesbrough with an FA Cup run, do they actually need it? Do you know what I mean? So you don't really know what's going to happen. But yeah, of course I'm confident. I'm always confident going into every game. You know, you get me back on your channel before the Man City game, and I'll be sitting there saying I'm confident. I think we can get something from the Etihad. You know, that's just the way I am, right? So you know, I think you've got to have hope. You've got to believe, because what's the point otherwise? What is the point? So I do hope and I do believe that trophies are coming, Chris. There you go, mate. I've said it, and I think that I think we will get through to the 6th round of the FA Cup. Come the draw. Come once we've beaten Middlesbrough.
Craig, same question. Middlesbrough away. You happy with the draw?
Yeah, could have definitely been worse, couldn't it? Could have definitely been worse. It would have been lovely to get a home tie, but you know, as Lee said, it's a championship side. We should be looking to win. It's not going to be easy, but we should be looking to beat them. And Conte will go strong in that. And I'm almost positive we're going to get through that game. Let's put the kiss of death on it. But look, it's a game we should be winning. We all know that. But you saw how West Ham struggled against, oh God, who was it? They struggled. Yeah, kidding me. So, anything could happen. Magic of the cup and all that. But, Borough have had a good run, but we should be beating them. And if we don't beat them, then something's wrong, especially if we do go strong, which I expect we will. But the next few weeks, so there's no easy games in the Premier League, and it's right, isn't it? We struggled against Leeds last year. That offside goal, wasn't it? It was like by a toenail. Was that Harry's toenail was offside or Sonny's toenail was offside? So that ain't going to be easy. Obviously, City is not going to be easy. And let's face it, Wolves on Sunday ain't going to be easy. Burnley ain't going to be easy. There's nothing easy. But I do believe if the players want it bad enough, and that's what Conte's going to want to make them believe, because a lot of this is belief, I think. It's like the Chelsea thing. How many times have we said that? It's almost like the players know they're going to lose. Every time we go to Stamford Bridge or even play Chelsea at home, they know it's a mentality thing with Tottenham. Get it right up here, and that's not. They say when you play golf, 90% of it is up here, and I think that's true about football a lot of the time. If you have the belief, if you really think something bad enough, then 9 times out of 10, it will happen because you've got that belief, you've got that mental strength. And I'm sure Lee talks about this in his podcast and hiring people, and you want people with the right mentality and the right belief. And football is no different. It's just life in general. You have a positive outlook and you have a bit of belief in yourself and your teammates, you can go places. And I think that's what they need. And I think that's what Conte needs to drill into them.
Darren, let's come to you on the same point about the FA Cup, because when Antonio Conte chose that starting 11 on Saturday against Brighton, then the same starting 11 in a Premier League game tonight, surely he is taking the FA Cup very seriously, which means that he wants to go far in this competition and perhaps put the trophy in the cabinet.
Chris, Conte wants to bring you a gift. He's working on it, Chris. He's trying to bring you a gift. He knows what you need. I'm sure you've told him enough when you've been hanging over the edge talking to him. I know you've told him he wants to give you a gift. I'm gonna stick my neck on the line for you. If Conte gets what he wants, you're getting a trophy, Chris. You're gonna get one. Because Craig, as you quite rightly said about the mentality on the pitch, winning mentality. If you look at the credentials of the 2 individuals we signed, they're winners. They've got trophy cabinets. They know how to get over the finish line. They understand what winning feels like and how to win. And I think if we get more of those in our squad, which that's what we've been missing. That's why that Chelsea game breaks us all the time, because we see people crumble. We see individuals just go, I can't do this. Winners don't do that. And if we get the right tools, we're going to do it. And Conte's trying for you this season, Chris. I think the FA Cup, I think we'll go far in it. But I think the problem we'll have is because our squad is light, the best 11 is going to be playing both ways, and the games are coming thick and fast. Where the games we've got in hand, it may not play into our hands. However, if we do the right shopping in the summer, I know everyone else is going to be shopping as well, but if we do the right shopping with Conte, Chris, you're getting a gift.
I'll tell you what, Darren, I feel more confident when Chelsea are out of this competition. I really will. I do not want to be going to Stamford Bridge in the quarterfinals if we get through. Definitely not. Craig, Darren, and Lee, thanks so much for joining me this evening. Craig, thank you very much.
No problem at all, Chris. 2 in a row. So that's it's been one was better than the other, obviously, for the result, not the guess. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We move on. We move on. Let's beat Wolves on Sunday. Come on, you Spurs.
And Darren, thanks so much indeed, and tell everyone about your latest film again.
Always a pleasure, always a pleasure. And yeah, if you want to watch something on Netflix, Pirates, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Will it cheer us up though, Darren?
Absolutely. It's feel good, it's fun, and it's old school garage days. We can do this. Doing it again. It's happy times.
Is there any trophies in it, Darren?
I'm a trophy. I'm in it.
Well, that's good enough for me. And Lee, tell everyone about your YouTube channel and what's coming up.
Mate, I'm definitely checking out that movie because I'm loving the old school garage, mate. Absolutely loving it. It was properly my scene back in the day. So yeah, if you follow him on @Lee McQueen or @Phoenix51, which is my business, which is sponsoring the podcast In the Line of Hire, if you're an Apprentice fan, we've got all the winners of the Apprentice that are on my show. Obviously, I'm a winner as well, an ex-winner back in 2008. I'm doing some really good reviews and interviews on all of the class of 2022, reviewing all the episodes live every Friday, 8:30 a.m. And can I just say quickly, Chris, thank you so much for having me on. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though the result was bad. But look, it's the hope that kills you, and it's the hope that keeps you. And that is the key thing about being a Tottenham fan. Now, let's go to bed, wake up next day, smiles on our faces. We go again against Wolves. Come on, you Spurs.
Lee, I've got to ask you this while you're on here as well, because I know we've spoken about this at length many times, because we're good friends. But, tell all the viewers what it was like to work for Lord Sugar, having won The Apprentice back in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a random question. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing experience for me. I mean, I had a fantastic job before I actually went on The Apprentice. The story is that one of my team actually printed out an application form for me, left a post-it note on it. I come into my desk and I thought, what's this? I had a look. It was an apprentice application. So I filled it out, and I got a phone call, and then an interview later, 2 interviews later, 4 interviews later, 7 interviews later. I beat 20,000 candidates to get to the top 16. 12 weeks later, I win. I'm like, what is going on here? So I had the best of both worlds. I worked for Lord Sugar for 2.5 years. We built a business from scratch called Amscreen, which is run by his son, Simon Sugar. He was the CEO, I was the development director. Absolutely mind-blowing scenario. I've got loads of stories to tell. I won't bore you now because it's too late, but it was a phenomenal experience. And one of the key things that I take away from that is, if I hadn't have done The Apprentice, I wouldn't have set up the businesses that I have subsequently. My recruitment company, the technology business that I now run, Phoenix 51, that they wouldn't have existed if I hadn't have done that. I'd have ended up staying and working for a corporate. So for me, it's been an amazing journey, a brilliant learning curve, and a part of my life that I don't get to talk about that much anymore, Chris. So I appreciate that. I'm in tech now, Chris Mayhew. Thanks for the question. I'm in technology, so I own a business co-founded with my business partner, which is Phoenix 51, which is digitalizing people assessment, behaviors, competencies, all that stuff. So plug. But yeah, no, that's me.
I love it. You could talk for England, Lee. Absolutely love it. Craig, Darren, Lee, thank you so much. And let's hope that Tottenham can get back to winning ways on Sunday against Wolves and climb up that Premier League table, because we all want top 4, we all want trophies, and all of us Spurs fans all want the same thing, success. Hopefully we will get it under Antonio Conte in the near future. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for all of your support on the channel. If you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button. I'll see you tomorrow for a Tottenham news video. Until then, come on, you Spurs.